The timer in the corner looks weird.
In the decade of the 1930s.
Movie opens by making me listen to a stupid little kid read a comic book. I think I would rather just read the words on screen.
What is your beef with comic books, man? First, we know you don't think they matter since you ignore them whenever you do movies based off of them, and now here's a scene of you hating that one is being read to you. Not to mention this scene establishes what the Daily Planet is, which is important to this movie's plot.
5 minutes and 40 seconds of opening credits.
I doubt anyone cares because the visuals are really cool, and we get to listen to John Williams' amazing score. If this entire movie was just these credits, I wouldn't be upset about that.
For the planet Krypton.
Isn't it just like Marlon Brando to deliberately mispronounce Krypton?
This is a legit sin, and I would have removed the sin for it. But considering you pronounce words all the time, I don't think you're one to talk.
Movie spends its first 10 minutes setting up the villains for the sequel instead of actually starting the story.
Personally, I think this was really cool. Instead of showing flashbacks in Superman 2 of these people, this movie introduces them, so when they do eventually show up, it doesn't feel like they're coming out of left field. This is Lord of the Rings level of planning ahead of time, which is a massive compliment.
Jor-El imprisons Zod and the others in a Listerine breath strip.
Was this a joke? Because it wasn't that funny.
Jor-El, you are one of Krypton's greatest scientists.
Is he a scientist or a prosecutor?
Considering Daredevil is both a lawyer and a vigilante, yeah, he's both.
I tell you, Krypton is...
Wait, so everyone in this movie mispronounces Krypton?
Padding the sin count by repeating sins.
The early history of our universe.
Jor-El provides several years' worth of educational lessons for Superman's flight to Earth, but fails to give him even one f***ing granola bar or fruit roll-up.
Considering he survives the entire trip, I don't think this matters.
You know who would love a good super long origin story? No one.
You don't want that. I do though, since seeing how superheroes become the way they are is always fun to see. Except when they did it in Fantastic.
And just now orphaned.
Yeah, orphans are hilarious.
You've been manipulating scenes since 2013? Wow. Jonathan wasn't laughing at orphans. He was laughing at Martha's made-up story for telling friends and family where Kal-El comes from.
The first thing we got to do when we get home is find out who that boy's proper family is.
He hasn't got any. Not around here anyway.
Martha, are you thinking what I think you're thinking?
We could say he's the child of my cousin in North Dakota. And just now orphaned.
Jeez, look at the size of Lana's pom-poms.
Pointing things out on the screen.
Clark runs like a girl. A really, really fast girl.
That's an elementary student level insult.
Lois Lane.
This little girl turns into the 30-year-old Lois Lane in 12 years.
How do you know she was 30? She doesn't look that young in this scene, maybe around 10 years old. So I'd guess she's actually in her early to mid-20s.
So wait, Pa Kent never fixed that f***ing flat tire on the truck he was driving when he found Clark?
You really think that's what happened? You don't think he fixed it and then it became flat later on?
Cheerios product placement proudly facing the audience in this shot and can't get enough of the spotlight as it magically turns around to face eager cereal buyers in this shot. You can see the director of this movie in the reflection of the revolving door. Clark gets stuck trying to go through the same section of the revolving door as Lois, so he waits for the next partition, but is in the same one as Lois in the next shot.
Yeah, I'll admit, these three sins all point out legit issues with this movie. These older videos weren't amazing, but you were much better at pointing out flaws back then. It's part of what I missed about you, and it deserves a sin off.
I guess Superman's secret identity is still safe. Who's gonna believe this pimp and his two hoes anyway?
Even if they did see him go in and switch suits, they don't know who Clark Kent is, so I doubt it matters.
Flew up in the air again, he did like a big bluebird. Like a big bluebird.
Yeah, it's the 70s, but the news of Superman saving Lois and the helicopter somehow didn't make it to the police station even though there were hundreds of witnesses and news crews covering the event, not to mention other cops.
I doubt anyone would believe any of them, especially since this is before everyone had phones to record it. And this is all happening in one night. Do you really think news would have traveled that fast?
Don't look, just fly.
Good thing you hired that co-pilot based on his lack of curiosity.
He is curious though, but he doesn't want him to be distracted so he can continue flying.
I'm afraid I just got carried away.
How does this hologram thing work? Did Jor-El spend most of his time recording every possible answer to his son's questions? Does a dead Jor-El just work like a way better version of Siri?
This isn't exactly a recording. Jor-El explains that he put his consciousness into the crystals. I mean, this is alien technology that exceeds even 2024 tech. I'm sure this is possible.
Whoa, he flew all the way from Metropolis to New York City?
It's almost like Metropolis literally is in New York. Like you couldn't even do a quick Google search.
Fragments from the planet Krypton exploded and went into outer space. It is reasonable to assume that some of those particles of debris drifted to Earth.
No, it's not.
You want to elaborate on that? Because I think Lex's reasoning is justified, especially since in this movie there is literally kryptonite that he uses against Superman.
Well, I suggest vigorous chest massage. If that doesn't work, mount to mount. Yes, sir.
The U.S. military, on an important rocket delivery schedule, decide there's time to sexually assault the supposedly dead or unconscious Eve. But she's one of the bad guys, and it's the 70s, so I guess it's okay.
They're trying to save her life, dude, because they think she's dying.
What?
What's the problem? This man is faster than a speeding bullet and even is able to make the Earth rotate backwards later on. You don't think he's changed his clothes that fast?
Even you, with your great speed, couldn't stop both of them.
Lex says Superman can't possibly stop two missiles going in opposite directions and to two different coasts in time, and Superman seems to agree with him, which is odd when that whole going around the planet 100 times in a couple minutes thing comes up.
Yep, I agree. This movie is a classic, but stuff like this makes absolutely no sense. Take another cent off for actually doing your job correctly.
Somehow, Megatron is not unleashed when the Hoover Dam is destroyed.
Arbitrary movie reference.
This would cause human beings to fall off the Earth, and it definitely wouldn't turn back time.
This is a comic book movie, dude. This same movie already has an alien that looks human, is invincible, and has already been established to move super fast. It's not like the Dark Knight trilogy where it tries to ground itself in reality. It's already unrealistic.
Superman takes Lex and Otis straight to jail without due process.
Another scene manipulation. Superman says in this scene that they will be here until they get a fair trial.
Good evening, Warden. I think these two men should be safe here with you now till they can get a fair trial.
Why would you lie about the movie that started a superhero movie craze?